Welcome back to Tangents Encouraged. I'm Toby.
I'm DK.
And today we're going to be going over both skins, editions.
Yeah, editions.
Of SpellJammer.
And tangents are encouraged. So, we're looking at SpellJammer. It came in two formats. If you want to hold yours up there. So, the original standard-looking logos in the same places type of deal, and then the alternate that they usually do. It's kind of a normal thing that they've been doing now.
Yeah.
So I still like that they're doing this. I really like both covers, actually. They're kind of, I mean, this is obviously the limited edition. It's pretty standard on how they kind of set these up with the kind of design that they usually put on these. But then these are always, a little bit more different, have different flair.
Their latest books have been going with this kind of style, like a more simplistic, I'm not going to call it cartoony, but it kind of is,
Yeah, a little
stylistic, type of art style. And these ones they're going for more of the high detail, like what things look like.
Yeah.
I also noticed that yours has a blue ampersand. That's an ampersand, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's the original D&D one. Interesting.
It is interesting. And then I'm thinking this is going to be the SpellJammer logo. So, back when 5th edition was first coming out, I don't think they did it with their later adventures, the most recent ones. They used to have a symbol or a logo that would go on all the products, so that you would know that those products go to which. So, Rage of Demons had one, and then it would be on the Rage of Demons miniatures, and kind of everything like that. But I don't remember seeing it recently.
A good example of that is a third-party thing. I guess it's kind of third-party, not really. No, it's not. Like the spell cards. An example of that is, for example, the Arcane book. It'll have a symbol of the class type that has access to those spells. Yep. So that's just kind of what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Everything's fine. It's wood.
Three books. Each happens to be exactly 64 pages. Interesting that they made sure that each of them was exactly 64 pages.
Interesting, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a weird pick.
Couldn't have added 5 more pages per book.
Well, I kind of did. Someone definitely at Wizards was like, let's just do 69 in each. And they were like, not on brand.
Yeah, no.
So each of these comes with 3 books, these 64-page books. There is an adventurer's guide, so kind of the campaign setting. It's not even really a setting, it's more just like the information.
Which we want to show that one off?
To create, to create your SpellJammer setting.
And it's not only just to create it, but it has the rules, basically.
Yeah.
It has all the information that you need to go out through the astral plane, astral sea, all of that.
Then it also, with it, came a small bestiary monster manual. It's specific to SpellJammer, so a bunch of SpellJammer monsters. You got Boo, if you're familiar with Minsk and Boo on the front there. And then on the back. So, just some extra creatures. They've already released a lot of SpellJammer's creatures through some of their later books.
I'm a big fan of the Astral Dragon.
The Astral Dragon is sick. That art is...
All the art.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yes, this is true. They really went all out. And then the last book that they put in here, The Light of Xerxes, which I'm going to be talking about here, is it's an adventure. So it's a short adventure. I'll go more into it, levels 5 to 8. And then there's that logo.
Yours has the logo?
This is the SpellJammer's
yeah.
logo.
Mine on there anywhere?
On the...
Yeah, right on the... I have the tiny little logo.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yours is also blue, right there. Your ampersand. All of your text is like that.
Interesting.
A little bit different, basically.
And then also in the box, there is a map for one of the locations in these books.
Which I'll pull out. I already pulled it out of mine.
And then you get a DM screen.
If we can fit it all in one go. Huzzah!
So each of them has a little bit different art, but the inside information is all the same, mostly related to space encounters, ships, which we'll get into here.
Yep.
So, how do you feel about...
Well, hold on. We did mention there's a map.
Okay. Yep.
So it's a tear out of the, not the Light book, but the Adventure Guide, the Astral Adventure Guide. It's in the back of there. Double-sided. I won't be able to see what side we're looking at, so...
The Rock of Brawl. So, just like a base city that you can use for your adventures. A place that's in between realms. Which we'll get into a little bit here.
And this is literally the other side of the rock.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. I have not taken mine out of the book yet.
So you get both sides.
Wow, that's super cool. Yeah, so how do you feel about them doing these box sets, these three book box sets?
I can see the argument going both ways. However, I think it leans more towards the yay side for me. Because, one, more content doesn't hurt, you know. And two, because, like you said, they're splitting it up to each book is 64 pages, they have to make sure they want what is in that book. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be... It's not like... I wanted to call it fluff. They're not cutting fluff, because there's still excellent detail in here. They're making it precise, and that's what these need to be. So, for example, like the rise of Tiamat for like the adventure,
mm-hmm.
What 4 times as thick as this, maybe?
Yeah.
It's a big book, and this one's very concise. It's going to have everything you need for this adventure. Yeah, you'll need to. In fact, I think when you first got here, the very first paragraph in this book says, if you haven't read the adventure guide yet, stop and come back, because you're going to need information from this. Obviously, you'll need information from the third book as well, but I think it's also going to save time for, say, you're about to run an encounter, and you, instead of having to page through and lose your page here, you'll just grab the other book, go to the page for the stat blocks type thing.
Yes, very much.
And for people that don't like just sitting and reading, just, you know, material, now you have, alright, I need to go over, you know, just the general. You only have 64 pages to read. It's not that much, and it's not a lot to retain either, so it's nice. But as far as it coming in a block, can you get the books individually?
No.
Okay. That's my only complaint. You should be able to. I think you should be able to get, like, just this book. Like,
Agreed.
Say you don't care about their campaign. You just want to run your own thing. You need this and maybe the bestiary. But you really don't need the bestiary either. You can have your own creatures in there, you know?
Right.
So, if you want just this book, you can't get it, but...
Yeah, because now this is the second box set that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
The original box set, which was... what was it?
It was...
something of the multiverse.
It had 2 books that were already out, right? And then 1 book that hadn't been out.
Yep. I'm trying to think of the actual name of it.
Was it Mordecai's?
Yeah.
Monsters of the Multiverse?
Oh, yeah, that was the name of the specific book. Didn't that whole gift set have a name? Or no? It's just a gift set?
I think it was just Mordecai's gift set. I mean, I can look it up while you talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, so it came with 2 books that were already out, and then a third book that had not been out, which just had races and creatures in it. But then they released it in February. But then the new book that hadn't been out was released individually in May. So there is a chance that they'll release these books, maybe in December or January. They take a half year, and then they release them individually. But they are pretty small.
It was called the Rules Expansion Gift Set.
The Rules Expansion. Yep. So I wouldn't rule it out that they wouldn't do these individually, but it seems unlikely for this set.
Yeah, just because they do go together.
Yeah, they really reference each other quite a bit.
Yeah, I would say almost every page.
Yes, absolutely.
But like this one will say, if you're running this is where you're going to be using it, type thing. So like I said, like if you just read this one and then you're kind of doing like a play-by-play of just the campaign as you go, you know where you need to reference in this book when that portion comes up because you've already read it.
Right.
Oh, mine does have a little thing.
Yeah, that's where they used to put all the logos originally.
It's in the top little corner.
Yep.
Very hard to see. Oh yeah, it's on all of them. Look at that.
Yep.
I'm just blind. Okay. Cool. Bring it back.
Yeah, so do you want to start by getting into the Adventures Guide?
Yeah, so just to kick it off, as per usual, we have a little bit of art right at the start. Then it goes straight into the credits and the contents if you are specifically looking for specific things. It does go over the alt covers, which...
Yep.
Yeah, yours does look like that.
All the books actually do that now.
Mm-hmm. But... it, unlike other books that I've read from them, it flows very well. Normally, it kind of gives you information, and then a different set of information, a different set of information. You kind of have to piece it together, how they'll kind of flow together. Like, it might describe, like, for example, you might get a description of something like Baldur's Gate, and then you'll get a description of the next town you're going to like Waterdeep, but what about the travel in between and all of that and everything like that? And this book does actually do that, and it flows kind of in a good pattern. Let me see if I can find it here for you. But like, for example, the chapter 2, when you're talking about actual adventuring on the astral plane, it'll be telling you about, like, how it works, and then it'll go on to, like, how fast you can go, and how the gravity of each area works, and then it'll be talking about the air pocket, or the oxygen pocket that you're in, and the gravity plane of that air pocket, and then it'll go, okay, what happens if two gravity planes and air pockets touch each other? Well, the next little subchapter is describing that. So
it goes through and describes the thing that it originally was trying to intend to convey, and then by the time it gets to the end, it's like, okay, well, now we've introduced this new thing, so then we'll tell you about this new thing as well. That's
exactly.
Inside this thing. Yeah.
But so, and just right at the start, and it says, like, this is how you're going to use this book. There's a chapter and 3 descriptors. It just tells you, Chapter 1, this is the new materials. Chapter 2 gives DMs the rules for this new expansion. And then Chapter 3, it describes the Rock of Ball, the city. And basically you're going to use the Rock of Ball, or Brawl, rather, as if you're going to be building your own astral cities, that type of thing, just take that as your format and replace what you need. Mm-hmm. It also has a little table right at the start for how do your people get here? Like, why are your people adventuring in the astral sea? Because I haven't had any people adventuring the astral sea, except for when they decided to put a couple bags of holding together.
Oh, there you go.
Which, now I know, you can suffocate when you do that. Which it does go over. Let's see. No, that's just terminology. So chapter 1 is character options. Nice little bit of artwork.
Any other races stand out to you? I mean,
I hate plasmoids.
Okay.
I hate them so much. I don't like the way they look. I don't like their descriptors. And it's not because I already know people are going to come to the table with Osmosis Jones. That's it. That's going to be their character. That's how they eat things, through osmosis.
Okay,
That's how they
yes.
absorb oxygen.
I hadn't thought of those two things being the same. Because I also don't care for the plasmoids. I think they're like a cheap changeling ripoff. It's like...
Which are also garbage. Like,
Well, they have a place, though. They have a specific place. The plasmoids, it's like... We're going down the creature type list, and we've checked off the undead, the fae. What? Oh, oozes? That's a hard one? No, it's not. Check.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they just come up with these, like...
No, it's not. It's also a bipedal humanoid. Crazy.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, it is considered an ooze for its stat block.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, like, going down.
But,
How many of these can we knock out?
you get 2 new,
Subclasses?
no, origins.
Oh, backgrounds.
Backgrounds, there we go.
Yep.
You have the Wild Spacer and the Astral Drifter.
Okay.
Which... They're both okay. I mean, they add interesting things. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about them. There's nothing too
backgrounds
special.
are nice to have extra ones, but usually nothing huge.
But, continuing on, then we go into the races immediately after. We have the Astral Elf, the Auto Gnome, the GIF, and the... wait, I guess there's 5, technically.
There's 6.
Is there?
Yep.
Oh, there is. Was it the Hadazi?
Hadozi.
Hadozi. I don't like that. I like the Hadazi better. Is it Hadozi?
Hadozi, yeah.
That's annoying. Why? But I read about them. Did you read anything about the Hadozi?
Yes, I know some things about the Hadozi.
They are fairly interesting how they came to be. The Plasmoid, which, I mean, just look at them.
Shame.
Like, the fact that it says when they go to sleep, they just turn into a puddle. I just want to say...
They're just...
I just want to say, putting on... Say you're a fighter plasmoid, right? And you have plate armor. You fell asleep and you turned into a puddle. Now you have to put your armor back on when you wake up. Right? Right? But,
You see...
They can change colors, though, by sitting in ink.
No. No.
And then lastly is the 3 green, which I think is awesome.
Fuck yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah, 3 green, I think they're really cool. But,
Something interesting. Like, its body is like...
yeah, the insectoid, they just look awesome.
Yeah, we've been missing an insectoid.
Yeah. I ran a campaign where it was like post-apocalyptic, and there I created some special, like, kind of hive mind insectoid. They weren't people. There was like a queen, and like she sent out her. It was basically an ant colony, but different types of insects in the colony.
Okay.
And I feel like 3 green would be a really awesome introduction into that world as an in between the two type thing. But
those are some of my favorite. I'm glad that they brought them over because they're not from SpellJammer, I don't believe. Fight me in the comments. But I don't believe they're from SpellJammer. They're actually from Dark Sun. And they brought them from Dark Sun because they're not going to redo Dark Sun.
Big fan.
But slavery.
I'm talking about the 3 green.
Oh, okay.
Big fan.
I was like Dark Sun. Big fan.
No, the 3 green. Just the look of them.
Yeah,
also,
sure.
the Astral Elf Armor. I'm going to show this to you real quick. Awesome looking. Super cool.
Whatever.
And
okay, yes, the armor looks cool, but the Astral Elves, I'm done with those.
why?
Let's move on.
Well, I kind of like them. Their eyes are black when their center produces light.
Whatever. They're fucking Vulcan.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But I just like the little spacesuit type armor going on.
I mean, that's dope.
But
you also could have put it literally on any other race.
True. This is true.
Instead of having 20 sub-races of elf. Or just call it something else. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Why
You could. Where is it at?
I might now.
Starlight Step. Did you read that? It's level 1 Misty Step.
How do all the elves get Misty Step? This is what I'm talking about.
So many races get Misty Step now. And actually, in our Discord this morning, I'm just like, if there's races that get swimming and flight speed at level 1, why can't druids just level 2 they get wild shape?
Yep.
Why can't they just become... Because, like, at level 2, Circle of the Moon, CR2, I think, right? Oh, no, you get Circle at level 3. Yeah, you get your Circle at level 3.
No, you get it at level 2.
Is it?
Yes. And you jump to 1.
Yeah,
it's
CR...
half your... CR is half your level, I believe, for a moon druid.
It's 1/3 your level, but it starts at 1.
Okay.
But...
You're right.
Yep. But normal druids, it's CR 1/4, right? It's real low.
Yeah, it's really low.
Any druid, what are you going to be that's flying that's broken at CR 1/4?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You're flying in the air, and they go, hey, that person was, or that bird was just a druid. I'm going to shoot it. Now it's going to fall out of the sky and instantly die because they're level 2.
Right.
It's not broken. But, going off on a tangent there, right?
Yeah.
So I do like the Astral Elf, especially the looks of them. The Autognome, they're just short Warforged.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Moving on.
They do have a cool ability, Built for Success, if you read that.
No.
Well, first of all, their AC is 13 plus their Dex, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Same as I believe the 3 Kreen are the same way.
Okay. Dope.
The Autognomes have Built for Success. You can add a D4 to one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw you make, and you can do so after seeing the D20 roll, but before the effects of the roll are resolved, which I think are garbage, because, like, the DM can just be like, oh, nope, you missed, and then now you can't use it anymore, right?
Yeah, dumb.
You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get them all back when you finish a long rest, which is kind of interesting, because you can use it on anything. You also, remember, I think it was in the group recording we did, I was talking about, or you and I were talking about, how Mending can be used if you cast it as a leveled spell to heal Warforged.
Mm-hmm.
They solved it.
Yeah.
So, if a Mending spell is cast on you, you can spend a hit die and roll it to heal.
There you go.
But, specifically the Autognome, in addition, your creator designed you to benefit from several spells that preserve life, but are normally don't affect constructs. Cure Wounds, Healing Word, Mass Cure Wounds, Mass Healing Word, and Spare the Dying. They do have a descriptor of why it works like that. Some Autognomes, if you're designed that way, have a beating heart.
No. I don't like it. I don't like it. The trade-off is you don't have to sleep or eat anything or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So, no. You shouldn't get the healing spells. You're a effing robot.
Yeah, I do agree.
You're a robot.
I gotta go back to Astral Elf because they do have this cool thing.
Damn it.
Damn it! No, when they do their trance, after they finish it, they can choose proficiency in any skill or tool. GIF.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
I really like the GIF. Hippo people. I'll hold up the art.
They are a SpellJammer staple.
I love them. Right in the descriptor, their race is so old and ancient that they don't even know where they came from. Don't know their home planet, don't know their gods, but still get a little bit of power from their gods.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. Basically, in the descriptor of the Astral Sea, there is the dried up husks of gods floating around out there somewhere, and some of them have enough force left in them to still grant the gift power.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But they're a humanoid, size medium, normal walking speed, but they also get a swim speed equal to their walking speed.
There you go.
They get a trait called Astral Spark. Whenever you hit with a weapon, you can deal extra force damage equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can only do it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. And you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. Level 1, it's only 2 damage. You know, it's not
level 4. It's only 2 damage.
Yeah, I know it doesn't scale up. However,
you can only use it 2 times. I don't know. I mean, as it scales, it gets better, I suppose.
I'm thinking this is a decent way to bypass magic resistances. Or,
I guess.
damage resistances.
2 points of damage.
It would change over your damage, though. Because now it's a magical attack.
Is it?
It doesn't specifically say that it is or isn't. So I guess it's DM's discretion. Firearm Mastery, this is the real broken one right here.
Oh, no. The power creep is real.
It's cool. You have a mystical connection to firearms that traces back to the gods of the GIF. Oh, that reminds me. There's a, in the descriptor block of the GIF, the GIF are split into 2 camps concerning how their name is pronounced.
No.
Yep. Half of them say it with a hard G. Half with a soft G. So GIF or GIF?
No.
But for the... So this GIF is with 2 Fs. GIFs that we're used to is with 1. However, the G in GIF, you know what it stands for? Graphic. So, it's a soft G.
It's gift.
Yeah, it's GIF. But, so the Firearm Mastery. Firearms that traces back to the gods of the GIF who delighted in such weapons. Mm-hmm. You have proficiency with all firearms and ignore the loading property of a firearm. In addition, in addition, attacking at long range with a firearm doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack roll. Yep. So you literally don't have to load your firearm. I mean, I'm sure you still have to consume the,
You do, but it doesn't take your action
to reload. Yeah. Awesome. Big fan. I love it.
Okay, but like the standard weapons though aren't fantastic. I'm assuming they're referencing the Dungeon Master's Guide firearms. I don't think any of them are too grand.
There's a rifle that deals 2d10.
All right, never mind. Track my statement.
I just want you to imagine a warrior action surging with that rifle.
He's oh my god!
Like 5 attacks, each doing 2d10.
Yeah.
Action surge, another 5 attacks, each doing 2d10. So that's what, 20d10?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20d10 damage in one turn. Big fan.
Good chance to crit on one of those two.
Champion fighter, yeah.
Super good chance.
Speaking of, my next character in your campaign.
Get 1 crit.
My character in your campaign. Have you, if you're wondering what I was thinking about making, it's a champion fighter GIF.
Oh no. No, that'd
So
be super
good.
cool. I really like the how they kind of look, how they've been portrayed maybe slightly poorly in the past, but now I think they're cool. Yeah, the pictures are great. They got those big weapons.
Mm-hmm. And they also have hippo build. It's just like you have advantage on strength checks and strength saves, and you count as 1 size larger.
Damn, bro, they're loaded to give.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can't teleport or fly like any of the other races.
I guess. And they don't have dark vision, huh?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Got them.
Good thing the Astral Sea doesn't have darkness, so.
Alright, what's next?
Was it the Hazadi?
Hadozi.
Hadozi. I'm doing it backwards. Hadozi. Oh, Hazadi sounds cool, though. Anyways. Started off as house cat size flying squirrels, basically. And now we have flying squirrel monkeys. And that's the race, basically, yeah. They're humanoid. What I noticed, though, is the autognomes, I believe, hold on, let me double check that. Autognomes are small. The Hadozi and the Plasmoid and the 3 Kreen all have the option to pick small or medium for their size.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's no benefit to being small.
the only benefit I can think of is you can fit through smaller places. You can hide behind smaller things. And yeah, that's it.
Real uses though, like grappling and like things like that. Back in like 3rd edition, you'd get bonuses for being smaller for some things. Obviously, you took
you'd also
penalties.
For like wielding a big weapon, you had a penalty type thing.
Yeah, but +1 AC, +1 like. That's not bad.
Their speed is 30, and they have a climbing speed equal to their walking speed. They have hands for feet, so they have a dexterous feet. As a bonus action, they can use their feet to manipulate an object, open or close a door or container, or pick up set down a tiny object. They can also glide 5 feet horizontally for every 1 foot they are descending. And also, as a reaction, they can reduce their fall damage to 0. So,
okay.
It's useful.
Yeah.
They also have Resilience, the HAT-OZ Resilience. Basically, when you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d6 and add your proficiency bonus to the rolled and reduce the damage taken by that much. You can use that a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. The Plasmoid.
Here we go.
Amorphous, what do they call them? Amoebas, I believe. Amorphous beings with no typical shape. They're an amoeba. That's what they are.
Yeah, I mean...
They're an ooze. They can be small or medium. Speed of 30. They're amorphous, so if they're not carrying or wearing anything, they can squeeze through spaces as wide as 1 inch.
That might be the coolest thing about them.
I agree. Dark vision, 60 feet, which now they actually go in and say...
How?
What? Dark vision? 60 feet?
They're saying how they have dark vision?
You can see...
Oh, okay.
No. They're saying... Because a lot of the old text boxes just said you have a dark vision out to 60 feet. This one actually says you can see in dim light within 60 feet of yourself as if it were bright light, and in darkness it seems as if it were dim light. You discern colors in that darkness is only as shades of gray. So the other people always assume that dim light you can still kind of see, but they don't realize that dim light there's no colors. And the way I actually plan on in my groups, the way I'm going to kind of establish that is I have it's basically a jar of colored marbles, and I'm going to tell them to find the red one, and I'm going to hand them a red flashlight and send them into a black room. So if you can bring out the red one, you get something nice. You can't see red with a red light. Yeah, it's rough. So, maybe if you're colorblind, but I don't know. I don't know. But they can hold their breath for 1 hour. They're resistant to acid and poison damage. They have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, which is weird. I feel like an amoeba would have disadvantage against being poisoned because it absorbs things through its skin.
Yeah.
And then they can shape self. As an action, you can reshape your body to give yourself a head, 1 or 2 arms, 1 or 2 legs, and makeshift hands or feet, or you can revert to a limbless blob. While you have a human-like shape, you can wear clothing and armor that are made for a humanoid your size. As a bonus action, you can extrude a pseudopod that is up to 6 inches wide and 10 feet long, or reabsorb it into your body. As part of the same bonus action, you can use the pseudopod to manipulate an object, open or close a door or container, or pick up or set down a tiny object. The pseudopod contains no sensory organs and can't attack, activate magic items, or lift more than 10 pounds.
Okay.
But that's a plasmoid. Also, I know I had said this before, but when they go to sleep, they revert into a puddle. But
plasmoids.
Yay. 3 green. Alright, these guys are cool. Right there. Cool insectoid boys. They're insects. They communicate with each other through clicks and movements of the antenna. They are considered a monstrosity, which is kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
So makes it a little bit harder to cast Hold Monster on you.
Hold person.
That's for humanoids.
Right.
This is a monstrosity.
Right. So you can't use Hold person. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you have to wait until the high level spell.
Hold monster.
Walking speed of 30 feet. Honestly, at this point, I'd even say, sure, why not? Insectoid wings. Screw it.
I mean, yeah.
Everything else can do craziness, right? You have a chameleon carapace, so you can change the color of it to more blend into your surroundings, so you get advantage on stealth checks.
Okay, cool.
And also, it's 13 plus dex. So, dex fighters, dex rangers, that type of thing are going to be real good here. Dark vision to 60. Secondary arms, so you have 4 arms. 2 slightly smaller secondary arms below your primary set of arms. The secondary arms can manipulate an object, open or close the door, blah, blah, blah. The same, text that fills the thing.
Basically just want to make sure that you can't wield another weapon, basically.
Incorrect. You can wield a weapon that has the light property. So, as you can see here, he's wielding a short sword and a hand crossbow. So you can have 3 weapons or 4 weapons in your hands if you so choose.
Yeah.
So, does that mean I could stack the dual wielder feat? And how does your offhand attack then?
I would probably make a custom
feat just for the race?
Yeah. Striking feat.
Are there feats in the bestiary?
No.
They need a feat for these guys to where they can make 2 offhand attacks.
Yeah.
But and then they're sleepless. They do not require sleep and can remain conscious during a long rest, though you must still refrain from strenuous activity to gain the benefits of the rest. So they get to rest and still, be on the lookout type thing, but it just can't be, doing push-ups all night. 3 green telepathy, that's how they communicate with other creatures. The nice thing about that is you guys don't have to share language. As long as one of you speaks a language, you understand each other. There's no save for doing this. However, if either the 3 green or their target they're talking to don't want to talk to them, they're not talking to each other.
Okay, yeah.
It's a range of 120 feet too, which is pretty nice.
It's not bad.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. I feel like I was missing something, but I think that's it. So that's the races. This page feels really thick.
Yeah, I have some like that in my book too.
It's weird, right? Chapter 2 is... Or do you want us to talk about anything about those guys, or...?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I would say about half of them are cool.
Yeah, I would agree. Astral Adventuring, it's just how you go from point to point. It's going to be talking about the books, different things you can find out in wild space and that type thing. The number one thing that blew my mind with how fast these ships go. From traveling, as long as you never come within... which actually describes how the ship will auto-steer away from stuff as it detects it getting close so you don't run into anything. As long as you are not coming within 1 mile of something that weighs 1 ton or more, you will continue to travel at this speed. You want to take a guess of how fast these things move in a 24-hour period?
100 miles?
Multiply that by 1 million.
What?
100 million miles in 24 hours. Yep.
Okay, see, but, okay. Cool. That's awesome. So it's like...
That's when you're basically going through slip space.
Yeah, you're gating. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, each ship has its own speed when it's in an encounter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, this is how they describe you getting from one system to another type thing. That's why it doesn't take multiple generations to get there. You just go boop boop boop. Yeah. And it actually goes into describe of those little shifts of it moving out of the way of stuff that it detects as it goes. People that haven't been on a SpellJammer before will get like sea sickness type thing because they're not used to the small deviations type thing.
Yeah.
Because the gravity's changing as you're going. That's how it's flying so fast. It goes into the sensation of how it feels to be flying in a SpellJammer ship, like the tingling, that type thing. I'm going to come back to this point right here. We're going to go on to the...
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to hit everything.
Yeah, so there's air pockets that goes into the rules about that type thing. The gravity planes, I'll show you the picture here. So a ship, cut it down directly in the center. That's where the gravity plane is. You're on either side of that ship, and the center is where your feet are going to go. If you're out here, if you're out floating out here, and you don't have a way to control which way you're going to keep doing like this type of thing, and also move towards the exit of the air bubble at 10 feet per round. So, or maybe it's per minute. It's one of the two. So if you don't have a way to propel yourself back to the ship, aka you're unconscious or that type of thing, eventually the ship will leave you behind, if no one notices. Just a thought for DMs out there. It goes over gravity planes, it goes over fresh air, foul air, deadly air, overlapping air envelopes, that type of thing. Also, the air around a being is a cube, not an oval or sphere. And the reason why ships looks like a sphere is because they're very long type thing. It goes over drifting in space, it goes over falling with zero gravity, it goes over what the different pockets of astral plane looks like.
Yeah, I've seen that. That would look cool. Traveling and stuff like that.
It's how to, we'll talk about that. You can fish in the astral sea.
Fish for what?
Actual fish.
Okay.
You can get a tiny inedible fish, a tiny edible fish, a small edible fish, a hostile space eel, or a hostile gray scaver.
That escalated quite quickly.
The hostile ones are... So you roll d10, and it determines what you get. The hostile ones are on a 9 or a 10.
Okay.
It describes the dead gods and the dimensions there, and the live gods and their dimensions that you can just walk into. Going on to the special magic just for these types of adventures. It adds 2 spells and a few magic items. The first spell is Air Bubble, which is like water breathing, but only for yourself, and it lasts for 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's basically the gist of it, except it's for everywhere. And the other spell is create a spell-jamming helm. Big cost, high reward type thing.
Yeah, very much so.
As long as you are on top of a ship that weighs 1 ton or more, you have just created a spell-jammer ship.
I mean, that's super cool. You learn... Does it say who can learn that? A wizard or an artificer? Okay, so through study or trial and error.
Where does it say that?
It's down at the bottom.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The wizard or artificer creates this thing.
To use a spell-jamming helm, you have to be able to cast magic.
Yep.
Now...
Who's not a spellcaster, though? What class is not a spellcaster?
All except for one subclass of fighter.
Yeah.
All except for one subclass of rogue. All barbarians.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So, most of the marshals.
Half.
I mean, ranger and...
Paladin.
I guess he does count as a marshal, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But, going back to the spell-jamming helm. So...
The monk. I always forget about the monk.
Oh, yeah. They can't cast spells.
Right.
But, going back to the spell-jamming helm. So, you have to attune to it, and then you're using it. But, like I was saying before... let me go back to this page. So, there's a thing called SpellJammer Duels.
Okay.
And I did bring up earlier, and I need to bring it up now, the casting time for creating a spell-jamming helm is 1 action.
So quick.
Yeah, it's basically instant, right? Duration instantaneous, and now it is a helm. Spelljammers can have more than 1 helm. That's how you get into a Spelljammer Duels. So, say you sneak up on a ship and just sit on the outside somewhere and create a Spelljammer's helm, you can take over a ship. Just like that.
That's pretty crazy.
If no one is currently manning it, you own the ship now. If someone is manning it, you go into a spelljamming duel. It's each each Spelljammer makes a Constitution check. If there's a tie, you re-roll until someone wins. The jammer with the lowest check loses the duel and gains 1d4 levels of exhaustion.
Oh, wow.
They cannot attempt to helm a Spelljamming helm again until all levels of exhaustion are gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 levels. Up to 4 levels.
Up to 4 levels.
Exhaustion.
So, and to me that reads, if you have a level of exhaustion, you can't man a Spelljammer helm. Because it says right there you can't man it until all levels of exhaustion are gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just from being kicked out. But going back to just the helm itself, you have to be attuned to this, so it will take one of your slots. And also, say you need to take a break and one of your buddies is going to come up and take over. You both just agree to it, and they are instantly attuned and can take over.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then the next bit is going to go into encounter ranges. It's going to be going over the ships. Is going to go over different maneuvers, crashing, boarding, repairs, bombardment, and then we get into the actual types of the ship.
Maybe show off your favorite. You got a favorite?
Do you have a favorite? Because I have an idea of what my favorite is. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I do, for sure.
What's yours?
It's either going to be the Gith ship. Gith, with a TH.
Mm-hmm.
That's the yellow alien people.
Yep.
Because I super like them. Otherwise, I'll go straight Nautiloid.
Both, I would say, very good choices. Mine, however, is going to be the Hammerhead.
Ooh, Hammerhead.
Because they are designed for ramming.
Okay.
So...
Hammerhead.
Which, now, it's... So, you say two ships ram into each other. Each of them has their own gravity plane. So what happens now? Any ideas? Because it goes over it. I just want to see what you would do.
If 2 gravity planes intersect, it pulls them
specifically, they're touching each other. The ships are touching each other. So say the ships are an inch apart from each other.
Yeah.
The gravity doesn't affect. This one could be like this. This ship is still having people go here. This one is still having people go like this.
First of all, that's awesome. It's an awesome idea.
Yeah, you could literally be like this.
Yes.
I was inverted.
But no, what happens?
So as soon as the two ships hit each other, the one with the higher hit points takes over gravity. So
That'd be nuts.
say you're like this and you're a hammerhead and you purposefully go upside down,
Yeah.
or maybe sideways. That'd probably be the better option. And you hit them like this and you take away a bunch of their hit points. All these people now are getting pulled to the center of their ship.
Oh, wow. That is super cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But, like I said, each one has their own flight speed. A hammerhead ship only costs 40,000 gold.
Only.
I mean, if you really wanted to make gold, it's not that hard. You can come up with some creative ways.
For sure.
But Hammerhead can only go 4 miles an hour. Lamprey, 4 miles an hour. You said you liked the Nautiloid. I think it's one of the last.
It's one of the next pages here. It's not the next page. It is the next page.
Nautiloid, 4.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, so a Nautiloid is like a Mind Flayer, Spelljammer. If you've played Baldur's Gate 3 or seen the trailers for Baldur's Gate 3, that's the Nautiloid there.
Interesting. Look where the gravity plane is for the Nautiloid. It's below all the decks. But if I go to... Gravity plane's below all the decks there. Interesting. So they have it actually below all the decks. They have a thing that says that if there's a ship designed where the gravity plane is through the center, and like the cargo deck, all the cargo's up at the top type thing, that when they're entering an atmosphere, they have to make sure everything's tied down correctly. But it doesn't look like any of the ships are actually that way. Especially the Nautiloid, you would expect it to be like right here in the center, or maybe at an angle. That one might be. The whole deck, it looks like it might be a little below.
Yeah.
But that ship looks a little creepy.
Yeah. What is that?
The Night Spider.
Nyogi ship?
Yep.
Yeah. Nyogi are nasty.
Scorpion ship.
Yeah, so what? They got like almost 30 ships in there, right?
Yeah.
20, at least 20 of them.
Shrike.
Give you a lot of options to play with. They have like a miniature stat block.
There you go. Here you go. That's definitely in the center.
Okay.
So
yep.
the main deck is below the gravity field. So as soon as you go through there, you now rotate to be upside down.
You like flip.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it upside down, so you're right side up.
And then here's your... It is literally a flying sailboat.
Yeah. Space Galleon.
Yep, if you watch the Baldur's Gate 3 trailer, you know exactly what we're talking about. And lastly, no, that's a squid ship. We're looking for the Nautiloid. Did I already pass the Nautiloid? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we talked about it.
This one's also the Star Moth. Reminds me of an Emerald Dragon. Turtle. We're not going to show you every single one. The Tyrant Ship, I believe, is the last one, right? Nope, I'm wrong. Tyrant Ship is like the Beholders. That one's more like a mosquito. And then the final chapter is the Rock of Ball. It's just going to go into information about how it works. But that is the Astral Adventures Guide. The basic version.
It's straightforward. It had enough information.
A ton of information, yeah.
Well, not really, though. Okay. Sorry. The game implementation rules.
Yes.
Not the races and not all the ships. Was very small and concise, but it got its point across and it explained how things work. Because there's a lot of pages of just the ship there. You probably passed through 20, 30 pages of just ships. So I really like that about the book, where it has a lot of information, but
literally from
just really chosen about their wording.
this much of the book is ships.
Yeah, it's half the book.
It's half the book, yeah. Yeah.
So that's really nice. A lot of the campaign settings that they have now go so in depth and so into detail, and like that's nice in a way. But when I sit down at the table, I don't use or remember most of that anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that it's just like, this is what happens. This is how these things work. If you want to play in the Astral Sea, this is how our little space works. We're not going to go into drown you with a whole bunch of detail. Here's an example of one city, and you can base everything off of that.
Yeah. The one thing and it might be in one of the other books, that I wanted it to go into more detail about is the, maybe some of the gods that are more influential out here type thing.
Okay.
And it actually does, for one of the backgrounds, you get your special abilities from running into a deity out. You're just literally traveling on your own, and you run into a deity, and you get to talk to them for a little bit, and they go, "Hey, you're kind of cool," and just give you a little bit of a boost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about the gods being even the setting.
I mean, that's where their places. Well, okay, everything is in the Astral Sea. Almost everything.
Yeah, exists.
Yeah.
You mean all the multiverses?
Yes.
Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms.
Yep.
Whatever else you want to use, Theros, all those.
Because where are the Hells? And the Abyss? They're not in the Astral Sea.
No.
Yeah.
Those are different, totally different dimensions, different planes.
Yeah. But almost everything else is within the bounds of the Astral Sea.
Yes.
Isn't like the plane of water, plane of fire, all that?
Yeah, I think the elemental planes are... It's a little fuzzy on those details, but I'm pretty sure they are. You can get there from the Astral Sea.
Well,
you can get anywhere from the Astral
exactly.
Sea.
There's the color pools.
Yep.
That will take you wherever they're tied to.
Yeah, any portal to any place. But the material planes are physical.
Yes, you can literally fly into them.
Physical space bubbles, realms they call them, right?
Yeah.
Realm or no? do they call them? Because realm space is specifically Forgotten Realms named air pocket, air bubble.
Wild space systems.
Wild space.
A world might be a solitary, or flat, some other shape exists in an airless void known as wild space.
Okay.
And then outside of wild space is the astral sea.
The astral sea. Yep.
And then all of that together is the astral plane.
Is the astral plane. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, compared to like like I was saying, some of the other stuff they've done, they go into a lot of detail, and it's nice sometimes, but general overview of just some of the information is super nice. So, you want to get into this right away then?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, taking the information you got in that book, then you can come over to this book here. So, this is the Light of Xerxes. That's what I'm going with.
Can I see it? Yeah, sure.
Xaryxis.
Xerxes.
It's a short adventure. So, this adventure goes from levels 5 to 8. If you want to prelude this adventure, you can either use, it suggests either the starter set,
mm-hmm.
the Essentials Kit, and then also if you're on D&D Beyond, I know they've been doing limited runs with some of their free products.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to just get up there and sign up right away. But they did have a 1 through 5 level adventure that is a prelude to this.
Oh, okay. That's a decent sized adventure.
Yeah.
1 to 5?
Yeah. Well, considering this is only 5 to 8 too.
Yeah, true.
So getting into it, I'm not going to go and spoil the plot. I'll let you go ahead and do so on your own if you would like to. But I am just going to go over some of the structure that they have here in the book, little details about the overall plot.
And actually, in that first paragraph of the book, it says the information in this book here is for DM's eyes only. If you're planning on being a player, stop reading now.
Stop reading now. Okay, so there's the Xaryxis, the Light of Xerxes. It's the name of the adventure. So, not going into too much detail on exactly what that is, but in general, it's very campy. It's supposed to be very space-like. It actually says here, Light of Xerxes is inspired by the 1980 film Flash Gordon. If you're not familiar with Flash Gordon, it's basically like if they took Tom Brady and they put him in space, and they were like, he's going to save Earth.
Okay.
That's what Flash Gordon is. He's a football player that goes into space and has to save Earth. So it's inspired by the film and the comic strips that came out like that. It wasn't too super serious. Kind of like was making fun of itself at the same time. It's really campy. We're in space. Whoa, like just what? Yeah. So it kind of tells you how to run it like the show. Any non-player in the book is not more important than the characters themselves, which is generally true. But I mean, if you go into Waterdeep, you come to the Open Lord, Laeral Silverhand. She's obviously more powerful, technically, in theory, more important than the characters. But in this, it says to make sure that the character is supposed to be the hero here.
Mm-hmm.
So make them more important. Also, end each session with the cliffhanger, which I'll get back to how they've structured the adventure to help you do so. So I'll dig right in here. It goes into describing how to start your characters at 5th level if you haven't done that ever before. The character advancement. The book or the adventure is laid out in 4 parts in multiple chapters. So each chapter is supposed to be able to run, let me just double check here, it said for a 2 to 3 hour session, I believe. So
each chapter, each section of the chapter?
Each chapter. It goes chapter and then part. So a chapter is 1 session, and then a part is a couple of sessions.
Okay.
It's like part of the...
And you said there's 4 parts?
Yes. So,
okay. So if you're doing a 6 to 8 hour session, you should get through a couple chapters.
You could get through a part.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. So this is kind of how they divided up the book. I'll just show the camera a little bit here. So when they have a new part, they get a full picture. Part 1, Seeds of Destruction, and then it has the chapter. So then it'll be like chapter 1, chapter 2. I think will make up the first part, and then you go to the second part. So it introduces you into the game by starting actually off on the material plane, where you kind of get picked up. They're still doing this thing where they have some of the stat blocks that aren't in the menagerie. What's it called?
Really?
Booze Menagerie. And it has the stat blocks right here. It does also reference stat blocks that are in the menagerie, of course, but those are ones that I think are a little more important. The first creature here is the Astral Blight, so you can check to see if it's in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Pretty sure it's not.
Nope.
So like I said, I'm not going to go into the book here as far as the actual plot, but just looking at the adventure, how it's structured, it's very, this is the thing that's happening. So danger in the streets right away, and then a couple of like bullet points of things that happen in the adventure. It goes through and explains what's happening, and then it gives you possible endings. Now, I haven't seen this in a book before, where they give you...
Different outcomes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So it'd be like, oh, did this happen? Did your characters do something along the lines of this? Here you go. Did your characters do something along the lines of this? And then...
Are they all good endings?
Okay.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how you're playing the game. What do you mean good as in like...
Morally.
Oh, that way? I don't think so. No, I think it's variable.
Okay.
They also have like winnings and losings. So
Okay.
there's a part where there's like a fight where you could have, but did your characters win the fight?
Mm-hmm.
And not by defeat or kill, but like something happening during the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Did they succeed or lose? But then it also has these bullets where it's like, here ends chapter 1, which I've never seen before.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, did this thing happen? Jump down to here. It's kind of choose your own adventure style almost. If you've ever had those kind of books. So yeah. So going through it, there's question mark. Does this thing happen? It's not linear. So a lot of adventures they're making now are sandbox, where you can run around and do these small quests that they have kind of anywhere. You hit on this thing.
I think they tested it out in the Essentials kit, where like you had the job board with all the quests and stuff like that. And you'd be like, which ones are they going to take?
Yeah. So this is not like that. Is my point. This is not sandboxy. It's very linear, like the early adventures were.
Okay.
But it gives you those like points where it's like, did your players do this or do this? There's parts in. I'll use Tyranny of Dragons because everyone shits on it, but in Tyranny of Dragons, the reason it gets shit on is because it's like, did your players do this thing? Because if they didn't, there's no answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they do this? Because they have to. Otherwise it doesn't.
You could tell they wanted it to be like, did they do this? If they didn't, then they don't get this type thing.
Yeah.
But you'll have to have them figure out the next thing somehow.
Right. But in this, instead, they're like, well, did they do this? Read this, and this thing happens. Or did they do something like this? And some of them are 2. I seen one that was like 3 different options. Here's the victory and defeat. So they're trying to protect someone else. Did they succeed at that thing? Then this happens. If they failed, then this other thing happens. But, I mean, as far as just using the adventure, it's very nice. I mean, the wording that they're using now is very DM-friendly. It's really easy for you to just read through, and not have to figure things out. I think a lot of the early adventures that they came out with, they're better at now, but even sometimes they hit you with an adventure where it's like, this thing happens and that's it.
No, a good example, or rather, I guess, descriptor of this is it has good flow.
Yes.
Just like the Astral Adventures Guide. That one's more of an information base, and the flow's good. This is more of an adventure base, and the flow's good.
The flow is very well. There's a lot of times in other books where they're having you go back to reference things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want... I got to put my finger on this page, turn back 20 pages to figure out what that happened there. Instead, it's just like, this is happening, here it is. Oh, you needed some more information? It's right here. Like, we never talked about the pirate code before. Here's the pirate code now.
Like you were saying, like in the Dragon Queen, the whole, like, you have the meetings thing, but there was a whole table of how they were earning points with each of the alliances that were in the council, and just having to constantly reflect back to that when certain events were happening, I thought was very annoying.
Yeah. Yes.
Especially, like, just the castle, for the flying castle, for example. If you don't do a very specific thing with that, you're missing out on a large chunk of that campaign.
Yeah. True. Very true.
Which, there's a chance that you just won't find out that's what you're supposed to do with it.
Yeah, they don't...
Yes.
Yes. Which is different for this one. So it is still a linear campaign to that, but they're very good about telling you what's going on in the moment, and if something different happens, they explain that, and how to go about it. So it's very, like, new DM friendly even. As far as the actual adventure, looking at it, the plot seems decent. Again, it's supposed to be campy, kind of goofy in a certain way. A lot of the characters, the NPCs, I don't know if you've just been kind of looking as I'm going through, but they're a little wacky. They're something different. And
that another thing it describes in the Astral Adventures Guide is you don't age. So these people might be thousands of years old, and like in your favorite race, the Astral Elf, it straight up says that they become, melancholy, or they just become numb to everything because they've been around for so long. Like, why should they care about how some person that just walked into their life feels or thinks when they've ran into hundreds of thousands of people over their lifetime?
And the Xaryxian Imperial, or the Xaryxian Empire is Imperial Astral Elves.
Okay.
So that's kind of the basis of the thing, is they come down to... aliens come to Earth. What is your group of heroes going to do about it?
I like it. I do like that, actually.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's really, kind of, I don't want to say generic. It's cliche, but I think it's good. It's especially diving into SpellJammer.
Does it go over the purpose that they're coming down?
Yeah.
Like behind the scenes type thing?
Yeah, for sure.
I've been wanting to do a campaign so bad where, just using Horde of the Dragon Queen again, like, the campaign starts off, you're in Greenest, you're fighting off the cult, blah, 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 and you're doing your first little bit of travels, and, you're just like, okay, we're playing in, the Sword Coast, this is the campaign we're going to be, oh my god, alien ships invading.
You could do that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's awesome.
You get to level 5, and your players are just going around. That's literally the first part of the book, is just like, whenever your players get to the next bigger city, you can start this. Aliens come down. The first chapter, 2 chapters, is you being on the ground and then getting up into space. And
that's cool.
And then you're in space after that, and things are weird, and there's vampirates and space clowns just wandering around. The elven imperial army is out there, or whatever. There's space princesses. There's it gets campy,
awesome.
It gets weird, yeah. It seems like it's a pretty good adventure. I mean, here, even at the end, it's got, an open ending. So there's some losses to be had, but you can switch up your loyalty here at the end
to
one of the 2 people that they have chosen. And then at the end of the book, they have an example wild space system. So Xaryxis space... They kind of go into, this specific wild space system, what's in it, the things that are in it. It goes into, like, the planets, the type, the distance from each other. It gives you, like, a little astro map here, showing kind of where everything is in reference to each other. And then the Light of Xerxes itself. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm excited. I think I might actually run this one.
So something that's really nice about how these just came out, one of my players is he took the pirate background.
Okay.
However, he's a minotaur, which isn't super common. Mm-hmm. Well, in Rime of the Frostbane, in one of the beginning chapters, is you can find a crashed nautiloid. So the way I got him into the campaign is he was on a ship being chased by the nautiloids, and they both crash landed here.
Yes.
So having this, and they're about to be going into, what's the city name again?
Yithrin.
They're going to very shortly be in Yithrin. I'm thinking there could definitely be a SpellJammer there. Yeah. Especially in Yithrin.
For sure.
So I'm
anywhere.
And his whole character backstory is he wants to get him and his friends home. Mm-hmm. Now I have the modules that can enable me to do that without me having to come up with something. And instead of just being like, oh, you find a teleportation circle that can take you home, because that's kind of boring, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you found a downed ship and need to repair it and then launch. Sure, that's something way cooler. Oh, yeah. That reminds me. So those two spells, the air bubble spell, for being specific about that one. Mm-hmm. So each creature and object in Wild Space has an air bubble that can become, it has fresh air, tainted air, and deadly air, right?
Yep.
The spell I thought of immediately upon reading that, before I read the air bubble spell, because each one has like its own thing that combines with another one that's how you get fresh air. Unless you do it magically, you have to go into a place that has permanent fresh air and then leave again.
I see. Okay.
So like a ship, unless you have something that's generating fresh air, has to go somewhere to get fresh air every, I think it's 120 days. It might be 250 days.
That's not bad either way, but okay.
But my thought of a spell is like lock bubble or something.
Yeah,
like
a way
that.
To taint their bubble or something.
No. Not even. I mean, yeah, taint it would be good, but just lock bubble. So they have their bubble, and then they fly into a place with fresh air. They don't get fresh air.
That'd be nice.
It's a long-term play.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
but they might not notice right away.
I do like that. I like spells like that too, that are like,
or
they're not on the nose.
So say like you or I were to be launched into the astral sea or whatever, we'd have 1 minute of oxygen. Cast it on them.
Okay.
Even if they get back into their ship's area, doesn't matter. You have 1 minute of oxygen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because you lock their bubble around them. Now, my next question is, because all creatures always have that on them, could you just cast that on someone that's already in a pocket of good air? Now they have 1 minute of air?
Yeah.
Because it's always there.
Yeah, like you're locking up individuals.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
Sounds good to me.
But yeah, that's two of the books. We're going to be doing another video about the bestiary as well. It's going to be a bring a monster type thing. Yep. But I already picked mine. Okay. It's an interesting one. I literally just went, what's all in here? And I just started looking at the names of it, and I went,
that one.
That name in particular. I'll show you the picture here in a minute once we stop recording. But
okay.
Yeah. Anything else that you can think of?
No. I mean, I would make the suggestion, if you're looking to go into space or something that's totally new or different, pick this up.
Yeah, get it.
There'll be a link in the description below for the standard cover. If you're looking for the alternate cover, you're going to need to go to your friendly local game store to go ahead and pick that up.
I have seen people selling it as individual books on Amazon as well.
Okay.
Which you're going to be paying a lot more.
Yep. You can also get the alternative set on Amazon through a local game store that has a store set up on Amazon. Mm-hmm. But again, you're going to be paying probably $20, $30 more than what it's at. The SpellJammer box set, the standard one though, that was down at $40-something, and that's not bad. For that content, that is a steal.
Yeah.
Anything else on it?
I think we're good.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment down if you have any questions about what's in the books, or if you're interested in getting into it, or if you've ever had a space adventure prior to SpellJammer even coming out.
Or a suggestion of perhaps if you haven't looked at the bestiary, if you want to hear about a certain monster, perhaps one of us will grab one of those for the Bring a Monster thing.
For sure. I'll definitely pick one of those up.
All right, thanks for hanging out.
Have a great game.
And a great day.